Chapter 6: Parties, Elections, and Democratization in Post-Martial Law in the Philippines. Reporters Josh Jordan Omero and Neljoy A. Banuelos.
Good day, everyone. This is the coverage report of Group 6. The Philippines' ousting of a dictatorship in 1986 marked a significant shift in the global democratic wave that emerged in the 1970s and 1980s. The fall of Marcos in 1986 led to the restoration of representative institutions in the post-1986 political system. The post-1986 democratic system, especially since 1992, saw the restoration of political stability and was concomitant with a remarkable economic turnaround. Established monopolies and cartels in telecommunications, bankings, shipping, coconut, and other strategic industries were dismantled. The constitutional structure and electoral system in the post-martial law period. The 1987 Constitution and Election Code defined the state and the electoral system in the Philippines. The Constitution in the Philippines outlines equal branches of the government with presidential elected for a fixed 6-year term. Elections in the Philippines are regulated by the 1987 Constitution and the Omnibus Election Code with amendments in electoral reform laws. Now, the Philippine electoral system has been plagued by poor enforcement of laws aimed at promoting fairness and countering the three Gs, which are the guns, goons, and gold, that characterizes the country's elections. The simultaneous national and local elections in the Philippines presents challenges for voters, COMELEC, and parties. The removal of party representatives from the Board of Election Canvassers, which are BOC, has weakened party strength in the Philippines. And the mass media in the Philippine politics. The media now plays an important role in democratization of Philippine politics. 24 daily newspaper, 9 broadsheets of 14 tabloids are published in the Philippine capital regions. As in the US, the media exercise in the Philippines a strong influence of public policy. In the Philippines, party recruitment aims to capitalize on the popularity of media figures and voters emphasize on individual.
The major political parties. The Philippines has three main parties: the Lakas Tao National Union of Christian Democrats, Lakas NUCD, Laban ng Makabayang Masang Pilipino LAMMP, Struggle of the Nationalist Filipino Masses, and the Liberal Party or LP. So these parties established in 1992 and 1997 respectively have low institutionalization, limited mass membership, and a decentralized structure. They are loose collation of provincial and regional political clans and families, with notables primarily supported by the politically active elite. Intra-party democracy is weak or non-existent, and rank and file members are rarely involved in policy making. The National Executive Committee or National Directorate formulates the most important policies, with the National Party Congress being the highest policy-making body, largely ceremonial. So party bosses in the Philippines controlled party positions, activities primarily serving the ambitions of presidential candidates. These parties are primarily instruments for mutual aid in capturing, retaining, and exploitation of public offices. Their social base is determined by the geographical or ethnic origin of top leaders, often in remote and poor rural areas. The three parties are concerned with vote maximizing and often have transcend tactical and opportunistic links with organized religious and ideological groups. So there is therefore little programmatic diversity and little political differentiation among the main parties. So the main parties in the Philippines have little programmatic diversity and political differentiation due to the recognition that newly restored representatives institutions are fragile and need nurturing before major policy conflicts arise. These key events have contributed to this low conflicts approach. The 1986 People Power Revolution and the 1987 ratification of the new constitution and the 1987 and 1992 elections. The platforms of main parties point to a consensus and major issues, including promoting democracy and economic growth. The Lakas NUCD. Lakas. Lakas, established in 1992 by former LDP members, became the largest party after Ramos' 1992 presidential election. So the party was established to serve as Ramos' vehicle for the election, as he was party list after resigning from the LDP. The victory of the 1992 election resurrected the pre-1972 adage that the president creates parties, and Lakas quickly became the majority party. The party's membership in Congress and local authorities increased dramatically after Ramos' victory in 1992 election, and the Lakas led electoral sweep at the 1995 midterm elections. After 4 years, Lakas controlled the majority of seats in the House and held most posts of provincial governor and city mayor. The political base of Lakas is enlarged in strategic provinces that are the strongholds of its top leaders. For instance, Pangasinan, which is Ramos' home province and Speaker of the House Jose de Venecia, this is one of the 10 biggest provinces with an electorate of over a million or over half the electorate of Northeast Luzon. Cebu is the other power base, being the stronghold of Emilio Osmeña, Ramos' defeated vice presidential candidate. It is another large province with more than 1 million electors in eastern Visayas in the south, a region that has produced two of past 10 presidents of the country. The province is considered to be the second only to Metro Manila, the national capital region, in terms of economic and political strength. Lakas has strong links with big businesses because its leaders were in power under Ramos and because of its pro-business policies. Lakas, a Philippine government, has strong connections with big businesses due to its pro-business policies and leadership during Ramos' rule. This is evident in frequent business conferences and joint government businesses workshops, as well as the fact that many leaders of big businesses groups were top Lakas campaigners and financiers during the 1992 presidential elections, including Peter Garucho of the Management Association of the Philippines, Roberto Romulo and Roberto Del Rosario Jr. of the Makati Business Club, and Jose Concepcion of the Federal of Filipino Industries. The Laban ng Makabayang Masang Pilipino or LAMMP. The struggle of nationalist Filipino masses, LAMMP, is a collation of two main opposition parties, the Laban ng Demokratikong Pilipino or LDP, the Nationalist People's Coalition, NPC, and the Partido ng Masang Pilipino or PMP Party of the Filipino Masses, established in October 1997. So, it aims to consolidate opposition and increase electoral chances against Lakas. The LAMMP is led by former LDP head Edgardo Angara and former PMP President Orlando Mercado. Following Joseph Estrada's election victory in May 1998, the LAMMP was formed as the ruling alliance, with the numerous Lakas Kampi and other parties defecting. So the coalition was negotiating a combination with Lapian ng Masang Filipino LAMP with Angara as president and Estrada as chairman. So the victory of its presidential bet Joseph Estrada in May 1998 election had made LAMMP the new ruling coalition with many members of Lakas Kampi and other parties defecting to its camp. There were talks and preparations to transform the coalition into a formal merger to be called Lapian ng Masang Pilipino or LAMP, with Angara defeated running mate of Estrada as president and President Estrada as chairman. The LDP. The LDP, the largest opposition party, was established in 1988 by anti-Marcos politicians to organize support for the Aquino administration. So before the merger, the LDP was the largest opposition party. It was the ruling party during the Aquino administration, having been set up in 1988 by proponent anti-Marcos politicians led by Senate President Neptali Gonzales, House Speaker Ramon Mitra, and Congressman Jose Cuanco purportedly to organize legislative and political support for the Aquino administration. Despite repeated efforts to recruit her into the party, Aquino refused to join. This proved to be a major factor in the decline of the party, especially when Aquino endorsed the candidacy of Ramos and diverted the administration's resources and bureaucratic machinery to Lakas. LDP lost much of its political credibility soon afterwards as its presidential candidate, Speaker Metra, lost the 1992 election and many LDP members resigned to join the president's party. The organizational problems of Laban were made worse by factionalism. Laban's organizational problems got worse by factionalism, with the pro-coalition led by Senator Gonzales aiming to keep the alliance with Lakas and the anti-coalition led by Senator Angara aiming to break away and oppose Lakas. This division resulted from the LDP losing the Senate President in 1996. Despite an LDP majority, NPC President and Senator Ernesto Maceda defeated Gonzales, thanks to Angara's alliance with him and other Lakas senators. The party was further demoralized by a situation in which the LDP president contributed to the defeat of an LDP Senate president by a non-LDP. The LDP party was demoralized when the president contributed to a non-LDP Senate president's defeat, leading to many long-time leaders resigning. Senators Gonzales, Ramulo, Arroyo, Mercado, Perez, and Cuanco Jr. resigned. In October 1997, the LDP allied with NPC and PMP to form the LAMMP. The NPC, the Nationalist People's Coalition (NPC), was the second biggest opposition party before its coalition with LDP and PMP. The Nationalist People's Coalition (NPC) was the second largest opposition party in the Philippines, formed in 1992 to support its presidential candidate Eduardo Cuanco Jr., a wealthy Marcos crony and cousin of President Aquino. Despite losing the presidency, the party won seats in the Senate, House of Representatives, and local government units. Its strength was further reduced after the 1995 midterm elections. So Cuanco resigned and Senator Maceda took over. Cuanco resigned the leadership, which went to Senator Maceda, whose shrewd maneuvers proved successful in building up the NPC's role in party politics despite its weak base. He won the Senate presidency by aligning with the Angara faction and with the Partido ng Masang Pilipino, the Masiko Party of Vice President Estrada. He consolidated the alliance by forming it as LAMMP. So, Maceda, however, resigned from LAMMP when Angara was chosen over him as Estrada's vice presidential running mate in the May 1998 elections. He ran for mayor of Manila and lost. On June 11, 1998, the NPC dissolved itself as a party. Its members forced an alliance with LAMMP, which won the 1998 election and replaced Lakas as the ruling party. The LAMMP, a political party in the Philippines, has its strongholds in medium-sized and small provinces with little economic power, except for the province of Negros. These bases are scattered in strategic parts of the country, such as Maceda, Aurora, and the bailiwicks of close allies. The LAMMP has connections with business groups, particularly corporate clients of Angara's law firm, ACCRA Law Office. Additionally, the Filipino-Chinese community has supported Vice President Estrada's anti-kidnapping campaigns, and the Trade Union Congress of the Philippines, or TUCP, an influential federation of organized labor, has supported the party's anti-kidnapping campaigns. The party's Secretary General, Senator Herrera, is a former ally of Angara. The LAMMP's influence is evidenced in its geographic strongholds and influences zones. The Liberal Party. So the Liberal Party, LP, the third main party, is the only remaining pre-1972 party in the Philippines. So during the Aquino administration, this party controlled the Senate and exercised influence in the House. As the LDP, it suffered major setback at the presidential and congressional elections in 1992. On the whole, the party has tended to hold left-of-center views, as it has been credited for being responsible for the rejection of the Philippines-America Corporation Treaty, which led to the withdrawal of U.S. military bases in the country. So, as a coalition partner of Lakas, it has been given more position and access to government resources by ruling party. So the LP, despite having a few Senate and House members, holds significant leadership positions in Congress, including chairmanship of Senate Committee on Ways and Means, House Senior Deputy Speaker, and House Assistant Majority Floor Leader. As a coalition partner, it gains more government resources. So the party has no direct support from or close linkage with big businesses. The LP has strongholds in medium-sized and small provinces, including Samar, Marikina, Batanes, Capiz, and Bataan. It has no direct support from big businesses, although some leaders like Rojas and Daza have extensive business interests. The party is also linked to cause-oriented groups.
The party policy, ideology, platforms, and views. Now, the three main parties in the Philippines are all aligned with liberal principles of free enterprise, limited government, and civil rights. Lakas describes itself as Makadios, which is pro-God, Makabayan, pro-country, or nationalist. Makatao is for people, and Makakalikasan is for green or for pro-environmental welfare. The LAMMPs and NPCs and LPs share similar goals, focusing on national philosophy, private initiatives, and individuals' freedom, property protection, deregulation, and rule of law. The main parties support similar positions due to their social backgrounds, economic base, and diverse career backgrounds. There are drawbacks resulting from the similarity of standpoint and platforms. The post-1986 state elites in the Philippines, particularly since 1992, have a different social background and a weaker ties with the old oligarchy and landed families. At the root of the electoral defeat of the old oligarchy were important changes in the economic structure, which in turn led to the erosion of its influence. Now, our political parties don't stand anything. They have different names, but they are practically the same, and the politicians have no loyalty to their parties at all. They are loyal only to themselves. So they flit from one party to another like so many butterflies from bees in flower gardens. This is from Neil.